Welcome back to GBGuns. Today we've got something that everyone likes to talk about, and yet few people actually have tried one out, at least that I know of. We've got High Point JHP in 45 ACP coming up next on GBGuns. So these are made in Ohio and Haskell Manufacturing Incorporated, High Point Firearms. Part of why I wanted to review one of these is I really respect the intent of this firearm. Before we get into that though, let's see what you get in the box. Obviously the gun with a chamber flag. You get a ghost ring sight and installation instructions. That's one of these ring sights. A trigger lock, instruction manual, and a color instruction sheet on the takedown, which I'm glad is in here because I had heard these are difficult to take down. Not that hard, but they do require some tools. We'll get into more of that later. We'll get the box out of the way, we'll look at the gun. So, of course, starting off by showing clear, magazine's empty. That ejection definitely kicks it out, but doesn't fly out. You gotta pull to get it out. I'm okay with that because it's got these nice fat handles on the bottom of it. And the chamber is clear. So, if you're done laughing, High Point was created so that any person could afford a gun. The idea here is, of course, in states without waiting periods, if you desperately need something now to protect yourself or your family, pretty much anyone can afford to go out and get a High Point. And most gun shops carry them and sell them based on that. And that's a noble cause. Obviously, with this company still being around so long and having sold so many of them, it's a business model and an idea that someone needed to do. And I really respect that. So that's awesome. You know, people might scoff and say, oh, well, I've got this really fancy gun. We have plenty of fancy guns here. But you know what? They're expensive, and High Points aren't. And part of the looks and construction of this is for keeping costs down so that the gun can be so affordable. Alright, now that I'm off my soapbox, we'll take a look at our front. Massive, massive slide, which I believe is cast. Reason for that is these are blowback operated. That keeps things as simple as possible, also incredibly reliable. We'll see how reliable this actual gun works, but that's why the slide is so big and heavy, because with a blowback, it's just the spring and the weight of the bolt, or in this case the slide, that keeps everything closed. We do have a rail spot, curved on the trigger guard for people who like to put a finger up there. That's still stylish for some folks. Serrations on the front here. Nice contour to the grip, and I gotta say it is actually quite comfortable in the hand. Hand fits well. Safety, as small as it is, actuates just fine. Magazine release is within reach. Coming around the back side, we have some slight serrations there. Here's our sight picture. Painted sights. Red in rear and yellow up front. Side to frame fit, super tight. Of course, with blowbacks, these are fixed barrels, which gives potential for great accuracy. We'll see how that works for us once we get out on the range. And you see that maybe the light doesn't quite work with us. There's a small gap there, so you can see light inside the barrel there. That works as your loaded chamber indicator. No controls on the right side of the gun. The trigger pull I've been impressed with. It does require the magazine, has a magazine disconnect safety, which I don't like, but I understand some states require them. So with this cocked, and you have to remove the mag to drop the slide, reinsert the mag to be able to pull the trigger. Watch this trigger pull. Slack, break. That's all there is to it. It's actually pretty clean. I want to say about 5 pounds. With this slick face and the way this swings, I don't think it's going to work well on our pull gauge, so I'm going to skip that. But I want to say it's about 5 pounds. So, for as inexpensive as they are, you're actually getting quite a bit. The sight is adjustable and obviously can be changed out with that ghost ring that came with it. Now we'll get into taking down the gun. So with the gun clear, you are going to need some tools for this, by the way. A small hammer and a punch, and I'll show you why. We're going to lock the slide back, that notch, using the safety. It's back. I'll get the magazine out of here. And that opens up the window here to this pin. That pin has to be driven out.
Now I need some space on it again. There we go.
That old bent punch is a little too fat for this hole. A smaller one. Got the pin out. Now with that pin out, we're going to pull the slide back and up a little bit and then let it go forward. There we go. And you might have seen something just shoot across the room. I'll go recover that part. Here's our recoil spring and the guide rod. Just a moment while I recover that part. That part was this guy, and it's under spring tension because that holds in the striker. We'll take a look inside. I do believe this is cast. Very simple construction. There's our striker and the spring in there, and this piece fits in here and is what charges it as the gun operates. So it's quite a different operating system than a lot of us are used to. Hefty piece of metal here. Plastic frame, fixed barrel. Nice, broad, open feed ramp. Fairly clean and simple. It is a bit different. I gotta say, I haven't seen another gun that comes apart quite like this or is constructed like this. But as we discussed earlier, it keeps the cost down. Getting this all back together is just a reverse of the disassembly process. You do have to get this piece back in the end of the slide and make sure it seats in here before you drive the pin in. That takes a bit of complication. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but I really can't fault them for it. We have some tooling marks on the side of the chamber. Obviously the chamber's not that deep, but all this metal here, that's fine. These aren't meant to be beauty queens. I'd say if anything that, you know, if this were on a fancy gun, they would say that's there to help debris get out of the way. So really it's a matter of perspective. What do you guys think? Let us know. Have you shot one? I honestly haven't ever shot a high point before. I've heard everyone talk trash. I've also seen them do some pretty incredible things. And like I said, I just respect the cause. I think the idea is brilliant. To have a firearm that anyone could afford to protect themselves and their family right now, go out and get a gun. That's kind of neat. We'll get this back together and out to the range and show you our shooting impressions soon. Hey, thanks again for watching GBGuns. If you made it this far, I'm assuming you like our format, or you're trying to figure out how to make some angry, argumentative comment and start up an argument down below. That's cool. Click the giant griffin to subscribe. We've got a Patreon page set up now. That's where stuff gets published first. It goes up there while I wait for manufacturers to okay things, or maybe I'm fine-tuning it. So if you want to see behind the scenes, it's on the Patreon page. Over here is a link to a video that YouTube assumes you're going to like based on stuff you've watched. I don't know if it's any good, you tell me. And down here is the playlist affiliated with what you just watched. We do have lots of playlists. That's where everything's organized. So if there was something in this video and you're saying, hey, where's the shooting, or where's the tabletop, or oh, I didn't know about, check the playlist. That's where it's going to be. So once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.